the Starks and Hobbs incident VTR, where last week Starks, they did 17 angles in one segment and nobody understood it, and Taz didn't know why that Starks beat Hook, or Starks beat Danhausen, but then Hook challenged Starks, and Starks lost to Hooks.
No, Hook didn't challenge Starks. Starks challenged anyone after the match to come out.
Okay, but Sharks. We can't even explain this shit. We're watching it. Starks was the champion that had the FTW belt that wasn't a real recognized title, but they act like it is. But the whole heat of it is that it's not, and it was Taz's title, and Starks is in Team Taz along with Hobbs and Taz's son Hook. So Starks beat Danhausen, then challenged anybody else to come out, and then Hook accepted the challenge, in effect challenging Starks. Hook wins his dad's own belt from Starks, the member of Team Taz, but then Starks is not upset by it because he cuts a babyface promo and gets the people really into him. And suddenly, in the middle of that, Hobbs, for no apparent reason that has never yet been explained, just clotheslined the fuck out of his formerly broken neck from behind and beat the shit out of him. And Taz was saying, well, I don't know why any of this is happening. So now this week, they do the VTR of those incidents and then have Taz give the explanation, which is that he still doesn't know why any of that happened, and he wishes them all good luck, but since Team Taz can't get along, he's officially dissolving Team Taz on an on-camera of the announcers. This thing's been a deal since the start of AEW, Team Taz, and now they dissolve the whole thing amidst controversy in an announcer on camera. What the fuck?
Can we just pause for a second before you go forward?
I wish we could.
To remember Team Taz. Because they were, in the early days of AEW, one of the most misused groups from like day one. Taz was great on the mic. They misused him. Ricky Starks, they put him with Taz. They didn't do much with him. Brian Cage was there for a while. That didn't really work out for a number of reasons.
No, Hobbs, but they did it. They did improve the group by kicking him out of it.
That's right.
So that made it stronger.
Powerhouse Hobbs has a world of potential. We've really liked him and Ricky Starks together. Hook has a unique thing going on. You say he accepted the challenge. He did it in a nonverbal manner. He doesn't say anything. He just does things.
When you walk out there and start fighting a guy, that's kind of accepting.
And I want to congratulate the family. They got the FTW title belt back on the mantle, I guess, at home. But they've been misused from day one. And if I can't imagine it's going to happen, but I'll say it. If breaking up Team Taz and Taz being the commentator means that Starks and Hobbs will be used better, I'm okay with that. But I'm fearful of how they'll be used, but they should be used so much better.
Well, but now you've taken guys that are talented but have been basically non-entities, especially Hobbs, and instead of getting them over as a unit and then turning one on the other one, you've just split them up when they're meaningless now. So that means the split is meaningless. That's Wrestling 101. But unfortunately, nobody in this company cracks a book. But immediately after that recap and dissolving of Team Taz, Hobbs makes an entrance and has a single match on television. I can't say it's the only one I've ever seen, but can you remember Hobbs actually having a single match to beat a motherfucker in decisive fashion on this television program before? And if it has happened, has it been more than a year and a half?
I don't remember it happening on this television program. I don't know what happens in their other YouTube universe.
Okay, well, that's the thing. When he comes down, Hobbs's record in AEW is supposedly 50-21. Number one, that means you've beaten this fucking beast 21 times when he should have been a project from the start. And number two, that means he's wrestled 71 times and we've seen it like 4 times on television in multiple man matches. He's been there for all those years. And now they're going to attempt to push him. Familiarity breeds contempt and indifference in different cases. And this is bred indifference because he's there, but he's not. He looks great, but he never does anything. People talk about him. Every once in a while you see him hit a move, but most of the time, blah, blah, blah. So Hobbs comes out to fight Ren Jones, and this is exactly what it should have been. He swarmed him, power slammed him, clotheslined him, and beat him. That's what he should have been doing 3 years ago, and now he should be in main event matches. But instead, we got Tony's backward booking again. They put him in a few main events and on the periphery of shit when he didn't have any idea what he was fucking doing. Now he's got all kinds of experience. Blah, blah, blah. So then Ricky Starks hits the ring, and they have a hockey fight, and the people are up. And Starks shoves the referee, and it turns back to Hobbs, and Hobbs hits a spine buster on him and leaves him selling. This was actually the best 3 minutes of the show because it made sense and it got something across, and it was positive.
Would you have had Hobbs do a promo here to explain anything the week after?
Well, no, because we still have barely ever heard Hobbs talk either. And a big guy like that doesn't need to be doing a lot of the explaining. That's why they should have, again, I don't know what the thought process behind this whole thing is. But now you've got Hobbs floating out there on his own. Him and Starks together, you've got the little cocky, obnoxious heel Starks that can run his mouth a mile a minute. And you've got the big bastard standing next to him that's going to put the hammer down on you. And that's the way you get a heel team over. And then once you get them over, then you give Starks some type of redeeming human quality where he shows some measure of compassion or mercy or fucking empathy or some decent human trait in some respect that Hobbs takes exception to. And then Hobbs lowers the boom on him from behind and plants him when it means something. Then if Hobbs had somebody else in the group that could fulfill the Starks role, then that person would make the explanation that you think this monster here was going to sit back and let you turn into a pussy, Ricky Starks. He wants to tear the flesh off people's bones. He thought you were with him. Apparently you're too soft. So now I'm in charge of the monster, Powerhouse Hobbs. And then you have Hobbs kill people. And Starks has to come back and try to get even. It makes some sense. People are in the right place. You can follow it.
He left Starks laying this week.
Yes.
Does that happen again next week, or can it not happen again for a little while?
Well, no, it doesn't need to happen every week, or elsewise then Starks is impotent.
But we see the way Tony does things. He rushes all these things.
Well, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm saying, no, it doesn't need to happen because now Hobbs has the heat. Now Starks has to come out and not only finish trying to explain to the people, which he was interrupted before, of, what his viewpoint is, but he needs to be the one to say, and Hobbs, apparently we didn't see eye to eye because you wanted to and then do the fucking horrible thing, whereas I wanted to do the right thing or whatever the fuck. You need to keep giving Hobbs wins. Starks has had more, and Starks is a more experienced performer, but not as physically dominating. So let Starks win some matches and let him do some promos, but let Hobbs just crush people. And then, after another few weeks where you've established the reason that all this happened, and you've established that both these guys in their own way are competent, then Hobbs needs to do something else to Starks. And maybe during that point in time, Starks can make the big bastard slip and fall on his ass and people laugh at him. He can't beat Hobbs up or beat Hobbs or pin Hobbs or make Hobbs submit or bust Hobbs open, but he can embarrass him because he's smart and he's quick and he's clever, and Hobbs is a, inexperienced musclehead. And then that would make Hobbs mad and want to do something really fucking heinous to Starks, and there's your angle, and then you book your match. It's not difficult.
It's nice to see something like that, too, where there's not a feud over a title. It's a feud over personal issues.
But it'd be nice if we could figure out what the personal issue was.
Yeah, we don't know what it is yet, but we assume there's a personal issue.